Hey guys, Casual Crono here. In this trip down memory lane, we are going to look at Thillelillie ES. Now, a few things about her compared to my first characters. She is Stellar Awakened, and this time we will be making use of her stellar skill, Sword and Heart. That's her big attack. It attacks 4 times. It's an extra large times 50. It barrier pierces. She can do it within the first 3 turns of battle because she is in sword-wielding savior state. Starting with turn 4, she loses that state, whether I use this skill or not, and I can't use it again until her sidekick, Moke, can restore it, basically. So I can use it on turn 1, I can use it on turn 2, or I could use it on turn 3. Once I use it, I remove sword-wielding savior state. So it's basically a one-time use until Moke can recharge it. So that is going to be her big attack. In addition, Photon Messiah, it inflicts pain and ignores target resistance. So she is always guaranteed to stick pain on an enemy as long as I can get off 1 Photon Messiah. Other helpful skills that I find, she can deploy Crystal Zone if I need it. She can awaken the zone if I need it. She can improve weapon type damage for shadow allies, and she is a shadow ally. She can improve damage based on the number of chains, so a 5-hit attack will get stronger and stronger and stronger with each hit. Promised Land, she can improve power and speed, and technically intellect, for shadow allies for basically 5 turns. And she improves skill hit count by 1 for any sword allies. She is a sword ally. So basically, Photon Messiah, which would be a 2-hit attack, would become a 3-hit attack if I cast Promised Land. And because it's 3 hits, if I have the Apostle buff going, the 3rd hit will do even more damage than the 2nd hit. So those tend to be the skills that I use the most. Sometimes I'll use Benediction if I feel that Crystal Stance is important. She has a lot of really good skills. She is one character that you might want to consider trying to get enough shadow points to get all 4 skill slots. So, trip down memory lane. I usually like to start with some old Manifest fights, and today is no exception. So, here she is, completely unequipped with weapons, armor, and badges. No special Grasta. For regular Grasta, however, since she is guaranteed to put pain on enemies, I have 3 Power of Pains on her. None of them have any type of upgrade, so you don't need any ore or anything. But, run Antiquity Garulia enough to get 3 Power of Pains that you can equip on her, and this will be the result. Sidekick, if you have her 5-star, you're going to have Moke. So we're going to start off with Isuka. So here on turn 1, we'll use Promised Land. That will buff her up, increase skill hit count.
We can win this together.
Turn 2, Photon Messiah. We get pain on there. And turn 3, Sword and Heart. And Manifest taken care of. So that's a quick 3-turn sequence that she can do. So that worked really great with one enemy. Let's fight a Manifest fight that has more than one. So here we have a fight that involves 3 characters. So we'll go ahead and do Promised Land. Actually, this will be an example that we can use where we can blow the AF gauge. We're going to blow the AF gauge, do Promised Land, Photon Messiah, and if we have time, Sword and Heart. There we go, 25 million damage. Remember, she is unequipped. All she has are 3 Grasta. So, if you don't have Claude's Manifest, that was his level 10 Claro de Luna Manifest fight, and Thillelillie had no issues taking care of that one. Quick AF burst, nice and easy, right? For our next fight, you could make the argument that Sword and Heart is just too good. So, let's fight something that requires basically more than 1 or 2 turns. Mariel's true Manifest fight. She revives 3 times, so we can't just back-to-back Sword and Heart over and over and over again. So in this case, we're going to make use of Thillelillie's other skills. First of all, a lot of her skills improve based on how many shadow allies she has. So I've grabbed 3 other shadow allies, Menas, Kilquia, and Tome, all shadow users. So we have an entire front row of shadow characters, and Mariel in the back. Second, we are giving Thillelillie some very basic gear. We're giving her a level 48 weapon, a level 48 bracer, and a 15 power badge. Yes, it comes with 15 intellect, but she doesn't use that, so it's basically just a 15 power badge. And of course, she still has her 3 power of pains. The other 3 characters have nothing. Now, I guess Tome actually still has his stuff that I have him paired with Sesta, but none of those affect things. In fact, if we just, if we want to be sure. So Tome nothing, Kilquia nothing, and Menas nothing. They're just there for shadow. And then we have Mariel, who has nothing except her weapon. So let's check out Thillelillie with extremely basic gear, 3 power of pains, not upgraded whatsoever.
Thillelillie explodes into action.
So the first turn, we're going to go ahead and hit Promised Land, which will boost her power. The other 3 characters will just attack. Alright, we're going to blow the AF gauge and just spam Photon Messiah. It's turn 2, so she is still in her sword-wielding savior state. Remember, this is with a level 48 weapon. There goes her first life. This is turn 3. After turn 3, we lose sword-wielding savior state. However, we did enough to get the Stellar Burst bar. So we're going to burst Sword and Heart. Because we're using it in a Stellar Burst, Moke will gain 5 charges.
Stand united and pure.
So there goes another life. Moke gained 5 charges, which means he can put her back in sword-wielding savior state. Now I could Sword and Heart immediately, or I could just Photon Messiah. At this point, because of the pain and the shadow users, Photon Messiah is enough to knock her out, and there goes another life. So here we are on turn number 4. We're still in sword-wielding savior state. I could Photon Messiah, I could Sword and Heart. It's kind of whatever at this point, so. And there we go. Mariel's max level Manifest fight, which back in the day was rather difficult and annoying. And Thillelillie had no issues with extremely basic gear and Grasta. So before we move on to other challenges, we are going to step it up with the Manifest. We are breaking out Akane's Another Style Manifest. Amaterasu Sosoku. And I don't know if I pronounced that right.
Get into gear, Moke.
So, turn 1, Promised Land, and the others will just attack. Turn 2, we'll go ahead and get Pain going. Turn 3, Sword and Heart. And that brings her down to her HP stopper.
Big brother's got nothing on me.
Turn 4, we'll go ahead and Apostle. Turn 5. Moke is glowing. Moke is ready to go on a rampage. We do that. She's back in sword-wielding savior state. We can Sword and Heart again. So a lot of times in her case, if we can just hold off until Moke recharges, typically on turn 5, we can defeat much more powerful things. So that was Akane's another style manifest fight that had over 20 million in health. And that was the Thillelillie with 3 unequipped shadow users. It's time to start seeking out gear that will help Thillelillie. Thillelillie, when you check her personalities, she is Sweet Tooth, Clergy, West, Sword, and Crystal. As it happens, the Sweet Tooth Grasta can be gotten here on the Charl Plains Road, and you have to fight a boss called the Regenwurm. Technically you don't have to fight him, but he drops all of the items that you need in one shot to get that particular Grasta. So I have a team of free shadow users: Altina, Gildna, and Galliard. And I've tried to make sure that I don't have Galliard's Stellar Awakening skill available. So here we are going to go ahead and enhance sword, Promised Land. We will go ahead and reduce the enemy's power and inflict rage. Turn 2, Photon Messiah. We will attack for Gildna. We'll go ahead and Spirit Dance. And we'll attack and possibly inflict pain. Wow. That was Gildna that attacked? I wasn't paying that close of attention.
Strength is the fear killer.
Well, whatever the case, that was that Flare Break? Or Celestial Saber? Well, I wasn't paying that close of attention, to be perfectly honest. It might have been Photon Messiah. Okay, we are on turn number 1 again. And it's like a new fight. You'll notice there's no buffs or anything. So we are going to go ahead and Promised Land. We will reduce enemies' power. We will inflict rage again. And we will go ahead and improve damage for the whole party. Turn 2, we'll Raging Charge. We will Flare Break. Actually, you know what? While he's below the AF gauge, turn 2 will do 3, 3, 2, 2, and then all ones. Basically, the way this boss works, we have to kill these 3 little guys. When they die, they hurt the main body. The main body is null to all attacks. So 3, 3, 2, 2, and then all ones. 3, 3, 2, 2. And then all ones. Okay. You'll notice that the 3 little ones have been defeated. And they did 6 million, 8 million, about 9 million in damage to the core. He's going to summon 3 other little guys. We are on turn number 3. Because we're in the first 3 turns, Thillelillie can do her Sword and Heart. We're not going to do anything with him. He doesn't, as I said, I did not equip his Stellar Awakening, so we'll just Lance Strike with him. Because Sword and Heart is being used in a burst attack, I can use Moke on the very next turn and re-enable it if I need to. The core takes damage again. But that's all you need. So the Regenwurm, if you defeat him, drops 50 Chaos Crystals. And then the 2 people in the front, this guy sells shareable Grasta for 50 Chaos Crystals. So every time you kill a Regenwurm, you can buy 1 Grasta. Really quick, the party. Altina. Nothing equipped. Thillelillie, just the Power of Pains, the 15 power badge, and the level 48 weapons and armor. Gilna had his personal weapon and armor, but nothing else. And Galliard had his personal weapon and armor, and nothing else. Well, I guess technically a rebel proof. And that was it. There were no supporting characters. There was only Moke as the sidekick. Free Shadow characters. These characters were chosen because all of them are Shadow. And Galliard does have the ability to inflict rage. So we have a tank, we have a support character, we have Gildna, who isn't really bringing too much to the table, and then we have our Thillelillie. And as I said, once you defeat the Regenwurm, you can start buying basically a shareable Grasta a day, and one of the Grastas that the captain sells coincides with Thillelillie's personality. He sells the Sweet Tooth Grasta. So moving forward, we can now equip the Sweet Tooth Grasta to any character in the back that is a Sweet Tooth. And if you're not sure, you can use the filters and click on Sweet Tooth. And in my case, is that the only filter turned on? Yes. All of these characters that I have are Sweet Tooths. Sweet Teeth? Sweet Tooths. So that means I could give any of these characters, if I switch to Personality Grasta, Almighty Power Sweet Tooth. Once it's fully upgraded, Thillelillie will now do 25% more damage just by having Rodea in the back holding the Sweet Tooth Grasta. Again, as long as it is fully awakened. So with this addition and beating that boss, Thillelillie is now going to do 25% more damage. So let's move on and beef her up even more. Now it's time to upgrade Thillelillie a little bit more. We still have our 3 relatively unequipped Shadow users. For our back row, we're still using the Sweet Tooth. And at this point in the game, you should be able to acquire 2 Enhance if Max HP swords. Where can you get those? 1, the Astral Archive Book of Slash. As long as you go and defeat a Raging Boar King anywhere, they're usually found in the Inari Plateaus, the horrors there, you can get an Enhance if max HP sword, and the other one can be gotten in Present Garulia, another dungeon. So if you, at this point, you should be running Present Garulia and Antiquity Garulia a lot to try and buy out the merchants. So this should help. So just slap it on any sword user that you can throw in the reserves. Thillelillie herself, the Regenwurm, was a tier 4 superboss. The tier 5 superbosses, they're not repeatable fights, but they all have similar health, around 20 million. And as you can see, Thillelillie was able to knock out 20 million, 30 million fairly easily, even on manifest fights. So at this point, you should be able to get Miyaki's sword. If you're running your green key dungeons, you should be able to get Guidance Bracelet, which improves type attack, aka her crystal attacks. It's not unreasonable to have a 25 power badge around now. And if you have gotten as far as Underworld, you should be able to start collecting ores to upgrade your Grastas. A Bullseye ore and a Rose with Thorns ore are usually 2 guaranteed ores that you give to DPS characters. So that's what we've given to Thillelillie. She also happens to have now her Abyssal Devotee proof. It gives her an extra 5 power. It doesn't really matter which Grasta, special Grasta you can give her. Anything with power is great. The Miyaki sword, if you're not familiar with it, improves her physical resistance, and when she attacks, she heals herself a little bit. So this is totally reasonable for mid-game, as long as you can reach the Underworld, another dungeon, and everything prior to it. So the next superboss we're going to tackle is a tier 6 superboss, Shadow of Teyul Menas. If you go to the records room and go to the left one and go to page 2, if you've completed the mythos, you can go to Schnaud Castle Past. And that's where you can go to fight this boss. The boss itself does not drop anything particularly helpful to Thillelillie, but it is a boss. It gives you stones if you defeat it, achievements, all that good stuff. So we are going to improve weapon damage, we are going to reduce enemies' power, we're going to inflict rage. Remember, those 3 still are pretty much unequipped. And Thillelillie is going to buff with Promised Land. Now, this particular boss happens to resist most elements except crystal, and Photon Messiah is a crystal attack. So we'll go ahead and doesn't really matter, I suppose. Raging, well, just attack. And we'll get some defense going. You'll see Thillelillie is a lot stronger now thanks to Bullseye and her other upgrades.
Ouch!
So we are on turn number 3. We can have some fun. Sword and Heart. We'll just attack. Whatever. Attack and attack. And Sword and Heart now takes care of the job. So tier 6 superboss. Not a problem with Thillelillie and a relatively unequipped free team. With gear and Grasta that are completely obtainable prior to going to the Hollows. Continuing our ascent up the wiki tier list, we are now going to challenge Kudang. He is a tier 7 super boss. He is found in cell 5A of the dungeon ruins in the land of Ro. So go here, go to level 5 once you reach it and unlock that teleport. Go to the top of the screen, enter the room. Super boss is right next to you. We're now also upgrading our team. Altina now actually has gear. Basically just stuff that gives her health and stuff that is accessible at this point in the game. Dark Spirit Bow gives her a little bit of resistance. Oriental Ring, a little bit more resistance. So basically survivability. 500 health. Thillelillie, still geared the same as before. We have free character Nona, shadow character, who is holding Miyake's bow and has various things that give her health as well, and a plus 20 stats badge. And we have good old Prey. He has Toto's weapon, gives him a little bit of physical resistance. Oriental bracelet, resistances. Hold ground, and some health. And he has Sound Body West. It gives 300 health to all West characters. Well, it just so happens that Thillelillie is a West character. And this one, Sound Body West, is a Grasta that is obtained as I am scrolling. Soundbody West. Astral Archive Book of Teyul Menas 1. And I believe you just have to defeat a horror. Yes, the Ghost City Horror, the Dark Side Destroyer. So as long as you can beat up a horror, which at this point you should be able to grab Robust Body West. In addition, our back row. Now, not everyone has Melina, and any form of her will do. It just so happens that her personalities, Sweet Tooth, Clergy, and West, all completely overlap with Thillelillie's. Sweet Tooth, Clergy, West. So if you happen to get all 3 of those attack Grastas, she can hold all 3 and completely buff up Thillelillie. The Clergy, Almighty Power Clergy, is a reward from, I believe, Wanderer in the Vortex. And if you go to Nazarick, City of Shadows, down the manhole, you can eventually find the Almighty Power West Grasta. Neither, I believe, are tied to super bosses. It's just as long as you advance in the game, you will eventually get to the points where you can pick those up. So, Uo still has the Enhance if Max HP swords. We've also added a sidekick. We now have free sidekick Iridian, who can heal every single turn. And we still have Moke. He is the sub-sidekick, so we can swap the sidekicks and break Moke out if we need to. So that is the team. I don't have a 4th badge for Pry because not everyone has a Pry with a 4th badge slot open. So this is still pretty much a team that most people can assemble just with some advancement in the game. Kudang is a kind of strange boss. He summons shackled demons every turn. We're going to Promised Land. We are going to improve damage. We're going to Devotion Thillelillie. And we'll go ahead and reduce type resistance. Anyway, Kudang will summon little shackled demons. The proper way to defeat him is to beat up a shackled demon every single turn. Here it comes. Whee! Because if you defeat Kudang before you kill 5 shackled demons, he does a massive attack to the whole party. So, that said, we have Promised Land buff, we have some team buffs going, so we are going to go ahead and just blow the AF gauge anyway. So during that time, we are going to Spirit Dance, so number 1. We'll try to work in 1 Apostle and then Photon Messiah, so 3. We'll work in a 2 to improve weapon type damage and critical damage, and we're going to deploy a zone in the process. And in his case, we'll just attack, so Noble Flames. If we notice the boss's health completely goes away, we're going to switch over and do Indulgence really quick, because that way he'll take that massive attack at the end. So we're going to do 1, 3, 2, 1, and then all ones. 1, 3, 2, 1, all ones. And let's get that Indulgence if we can. Actually not sure if we pulled it off. Well, in an ideal world, we would have hit Indulgence and he would have survived. He had the hold ground Grasta equipped, so we still beat him. But you saw how easily it was to slice through Kudang's health. Kudang has 80 million health, and Thillelillie, being the main damage dealer, had no problem pretty much doing that in about 2 attacks worth, with gear that is completely accessible at this point in the game. So it didn't quite go according to plan, but that is why we have hold ground badges of some kind. Let's move on. The next boss on our journey is going to be the Dragon God. If you go to another Barokai and travel to another space-time rift, on the far left end you have the choice of fighting some bosses. And one of them is the Dragon God. We have the same team as before, equipped pretty much the same way. And the same sidekicks. Alright, we are going to test the Dragon God. The Dragon God is a Tier 8 super boss. Physical resistance, Promised Land, devotion, and we'll go ahead and reduce type resistance.
Divine punishment.
Now the Dragon God himself is weak to crystal. So we're going to use turn 2 to blow the AF gauge. We're going to do Enhance, Apostle, Concordia, and then pretty much all ones after that. So 2, 3, 2, and then all ones. 2, 3, 2, and then all ones. We're now in a slash zone, which makes the Thillelillie quite happy, and we hit the HP stopper and did 506 million damage in that burst alone. And now we're on turn 3. And by now you know that means it's the last turn of sword-wielding Savior state, which means it's also the last chance we have to use Sword in Heart. Well, the HP stopper is gone, so let's just go ahead and finish this up. And now you're starting to see billions in damage against crystal weak bosses. But there you go. Dragon God killed in 3 turns with a free team, mostly free. Prey is going to appear for you at some point. And technically Melina isn't a free character, but she's holding Grasta, so kind of doesn't count. But a mostly free team featuring Thillelillie, making quick work of tier 8 superbosses. Now that we're getting into the tougher challenges, we're up to tier 9 on the wiki list, we need to start considering stronger partners for Thillelillie. The best possible partner I can think of for her is Alma AS. Alma is a crystal tank, and her presence alone, as long as there are 2 crystal allies in the front, we automatically get a crystal stance. That will of course improve Thillelillie's damage. She also basically can't die for 2 turns. Right now I have her equipped with nothing to show that. Otherwise we still have Altina and Nona and Melina and Uo, so all pretty much geared the same way as before, with Alma not having anything. And we are going to fight the EPS-209 Murphy. This is one of the super bosses in Curio's Regret weapon upgrade chain. So we are now in crystal stance, and we're going to use turn 1 to buff up this party. So we are going to cast Enhanced Sword, Promised Land. We'll go ahead and do Concordia, and she will do Refraction Bullet. It is her way of doing Rage. And then we'll do all ones. We will try to work in 1 apostle as well. So 2, 2, 2, 2, all ones with 1 apostle worked in. 2, 2, 2, 2, apostle, and now all ones. Thanks to having 2 Stellar Awakened characters, it's a little easier to get the Stellar Burst gauge ready to go. So you'll notice that Alma is taking all the hits, not dying, and healing back the team. So Alma is also a way to keep Thillelillie's MP high. So we got all of our buffs in, we're in a crystal zone. It is turn number 2. So now, and we do have the ability to Stellar Burst. So we're going to go ahead and burst. We're going to do Sword and Heart. And we can also Barrier Pierce with Thillelillie. Though in this particular case, I think we're just going to go ahead and cast something else, because we're basically trying to showcase Thillelillie, not so much Alma. Because Alma could pull that off without being Stellar Awakened as well.
Our swords stand united and pure.
So Sword and Heart slices through the boss. So 2-turn kill with Thillelillie. And the only major difference between this team and the previous team, we are able to swap out Prey as the tank and put in Alma AS. 1 single addition made Thillelillie that much more powerful. And the nice thing was, even if she couldn't kill the boss on the 2nd turn, because she used her Sword and Heart in a Stellar Burst, that meant Moke was ready to go. He could swap in, do his Moke Rampage, leave, and she would be able to Sword and Heart immediately on the very next turn and finish up anything that turn 2 was not able to. And that was a barrier piercing attack, so it didn't matter that the super boss had that 90% damage barrier. So that is how we can improve Thillelillie against the much tougher bosses. With Alma another style around, this opens us up to a lot more options. So we have the same team as before. Altina, Thillelillie, Nona. We did equip Alma now. At this point, Elpis Ring is basically just a matter of luck running Omegapolis over and over again. We're giving her 800 health and a hold ground, even though she kind of naturally comes with a couple of hold grounds, and then Grasta that give her additional health, and the ores give additional health. So we have Alma sitting at 10,000 health now. Sidekicks are still the same, and the back row characters are still the same. So we are going to try and upgrade Alma's weapon. We're going to fight the Land Avatar and Crab Bonds. The Land Avatar and Crab Bonds are part of the Void Weapon series and are tier 10 super bosses. So we are going to go ahead and Promised Land. We will Concordia. We will Refraction Bullet. And we will Enhance Sword. The first 2 turns, Alma will take all the damage and cannot die. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and blow the AF gauge now, and during that time we will Spirit Dance, we will work in 1 Apostle, we will Castigo, and we will Luster Glare. And we will beef up the Stellar Burst Bar. So we're going to do 1, 3, 1, 1, and then all ones. 1, 3, 1, 1, and now all ones. Okay, once you get to the HP stopper, the Land Avatar gives a little speech. Try to kill my team, but of course, Alma is perfectly fine. So now we basically have 1 turn to kill this guy, and then he will try to wipe out my team. But we have a Stellar Burst, and we are on turn number 3. Sword and Heart, and we could Kaleidoscope, Brain Record, whatever.
Feel the power of Aurum alchemy.
We're just going to do Brain Record. In part because it doesn't matter. You can see that this boss has 300,000 or 300 million health. But Sword and Heart took care of him. So 3-turn kill featuring Alma, who was half the time even healing the Land Avatar. If you don't want Alma to heal, just reduce her weapons and such. Lollipopper we could get rid of, for example. But now, by defeating them, instead of Miyake's sword, we can start using the Void Sword. It improves her type attack, so her crystal damage, and she will always crit now. Huge upgrade. So there you go. Tier 10 Super Boss, covered by Thillelillie, with a decent amount of support from Alma. As we start wrapping up Thillelillie's trip down memory lane. I'd like to show you a full team supporting Thillelillie. So Thillelillie could kind of go either way. She can go the crystal route, or she could go like a slash route. Either one she's had a lot of success in. I have more experience personally with the crystal route, so this would be like an end game type of situation. So Elpis Sword, Dryad Spangle, as high of a power badge as you can get. And then Power of Agonies, and then Gleaming Power of Pain. It improves pain strength and crystal type attacks. Support characters can include Melissa, and this is how I have her geared. Things like Power of Offense, Crystal, is always good for a crystal team as well. Mistrari, excellent character. So she has this geared, and including Resident Power Shadow, improves the entire party's damage, each character by 30%, because all 4 characters are Shadow. And of course, Alma and Thillelillie are. So, Alma with her full gear. And then Melina holding Shared Grasta. And then any random sword character holding Shared Grasta. Sidekicks, Moke should always be available to you. If not the primary sidekick, then the sub-sidekick. Tetra is a good character for heals as well. And Alma, her counterattacks should keep the team full of MP. So this would be one example of a crystal endgame team. Other crystal characters that are particularly good. Alter Dewey is a shadow character that has crystal skills. Jill Funny is a shadow character. She's a lot better with water type situations, but she is technically a crystal user if you just need a 4th crystal shadow user. And Yuela AS apparently is a very good character to have as well. She is light, however, so that's a strike against her. And I don't have her AS form, which is a Stellar Awakened form, but I understand she's very good for crystal teams. Eva is a good crystal user as well. Her downside, of course, is that she is a light character. And then, of course, we have, from way earlier, she wasn't showing up. Mariel. I've used her before on my crystal team. She has a prayer that improves damage. And she is a crystal user. She is a light user as well, so a little bit of a strike against her. But those are all various characters that can work with this team. And there might be a few more characters that I just haven't gotten yet. Kind of glancing right now. Maybe not. I don't think any of my missing characters are crystal. So anyway, this is an end game example for a crystal team. So let's take it out on a spin. To showcase a full end game crystal team, we are going to hit up the Sinus Iridium challenge mode. You get bonus points for crystal and bonus points for being West characters. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's use turn 1, Apostle, Glint Gale, Healing Lore, and Refraction Bullet, and then pretty much all ones. 3, 3, 2, 2, all ones. Got in a Promised Land. Turn 1, we're able to get our stellar bar ready to go. Turn 2, we have 2 turns left of our awakened crystal zone. We'll use this opportunity for Luster Glare. We'll get in 1 more Hakam Chets. We'll go ahead and get in 1 more Glint Gale. It should last the rest of the fight. And Photon Messiah. You'll see that Thillelillie is damage capping. Turn 3. We'll go ahead and Hornet Hail. We could go ahead and Kaleidoscope and Sword and Heart.
Irregular performance increase detected.
Lots of damage caps going on there. Because we used Sword and Heart, she is no longer in sword wielding savior state, so we'll use Moke and put her right back in and switch back to Tetra for the continued heals. So we'll Photon Messiah. We will Nephrite boost, that should last the remainder of the fight. We have all of our Hakam Chets, we have our healing lore, so we will go ahead and start singing. And at this point, we'll Luster Glare. Right, turn 4, return to the front line, Hornet Hail, Photon Messiah it.
I'm not going to doubt myself any longer.
Fly on the wings of hope.
And then turn 5, we can go ahead, blow the AF gauge again, and pretty much just do all 1s at this point. To add insult to injury. Why not? Sword and Heart. Actually, we'll do Photon Messiah, Kaleidoscope, and Hornet Hail.
Our swords stand united and pure.
And we'll just resume our all 1s. If we'd used Sword and Heart, then she wouldn't be in sword wielding savior state. Not that I think it really matters, being that this is the 5th turn.
Wide open. There.
But the extra Kaleidoscope and Link attack adds to the total amount of damage with the counter attacks. And we wait. And let's see what our grand total is this time. I didn't even use my Lunatics now that I'm looking at it. 46 billion in damage. And some change. And that would be more than enough to get every single reward. The final reward is only 230 million points. And we got more than that, 436 million if I remember correctly. So that is an example of Thillelillie and a crystal team working together, defeating awesome, challenging fights. One of the most requested items I get is to showcase some of these trials in Sebastia's lab. And one of them, Trial of Those Embracing Emptiness Extreme, it's the very last one. It has a whole bunch of goodies, including Power of Offense for Shade, Thunder, and Crystal. In order to get the Crystal one, you have to clear all other missions, which means no one gets knocked out, 4 or fewer party members, clear within 25 turns, and do 900 million damage in one hit outside of another force. That one, Sword and Heart can take care of pretty easily. So really, and clear with 4 or fewer party members. If I walk in with 4, that one's going to get cleared. So it's really, can I do it in 25 turns, and can party members not get knocked out? The final stage effective attacks are crystal. And you can see all of the fights right here. So we have our crystal team, no supporters. And as far as Grasta, here is Thillelillie, Melissa, Mistrari, and Alma. With supporters, Tetra and Moke. 25 turns. First wave. We're going to go ahead and blow the AF gauge and set up. We're going to do Apostle, Glint Gale, Healing Lure, and Refraction Bullet, and then all ones. So 3, 3, 2, 2, all ones. We'll work in one Promised Land. And once we see that the boss has been defeated, I switch over and do a few more 2s just for some additional buffs. Turn 2. So we're going to go ahead and Photon Messiah it. We will Hornet Hail. We will Hakam Chets. And we need to Refraction Bullet since they don't have Rage. Turn 3, it's our last turn of sword-wielding savior state, and we have the Stellar Bar ready to go. So, Sword and Heart. We're going to Hornet Hail to give ourselves an Awakened Crystal Zone longer. And we will go ahead and Kaleidoscope. Not so much for the barrier piercing, but for the link effect.
Irregular performance increase detected.
Wide open.
Turn number 4. Refraction Bullet, since it does not have Rage. We are going to Healing Lure, since it has a counter attack. We're going to go ahead and Nephrite Boost. And we need to switch to Moke. and get her back in sword-wielding savior state. And then switch back to Tetra. So now we can Photon Messiah.
Wide open.
Need a way. Oh, thank you.
Turn 5. Photon Messiah. Hornet Hail. Hakam Chets. Luster Glare. Next boss down. Third wave. Tries to deploy Chaos Stance. We are on our last turn with Crystal Zone. So now is a good time to blow the AF gauge and see if we can boost back up the Stellar Bar. So we are going to go ahead and do 3, 3, 2, 2, and then 2, 2, and then all ones. 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, all ones. And hopefully we can get the Stellar Burst bar filled up. Okay, we see that we're at the HP stoppers. We're going ahead and rebuffing. And we have our Stellar Burst bar. Right, we are no longer in an awakened crystal zone, but we have Stellar Burst. So we're going to might have just messed that up. I don't think she's in. No, she is not. Darn. Oh, we'll Photon Messiah it, Hornet Hail, and Kaleidoscope. I thought she was in sword wielding savior state, so we were going to sword and heart right there.
Our swords stand united and pure. Wide open.
That said, we are back in an awakened crystal zone, so their chaos stance doesn't affect anything. And we have a couple turns to go before we can get back into sword wielding savior state. So we are going to Photon Messiah. We are going to Glint Gale. We are going to Hakam Chets. And we are going to Refraction Bullet. We have Moke again, so we're going to switch over. Rampage. Switch back. And we are going to continue our assault. We are going to Photon Messiah. We are going to Hornet Hail. We're going to go ahead and do Healing Lore. And Luster Glare.
Lead away.
Okay, we're going to check our statuses. 1 turn left of Awakened Crystal Zone. 2 turns left of Sword Wielding Savior State. So time to blow the AF gauge, and we're just going to go all ones to try and keep it going as long as possible. So 1, 1, 1, 1. Once we can guarantee that we can Stellar Burst, we'll switch over and rebuff with the 2s and 3s. There we go. 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3. Not sure if Brain Record really matters. Final wave. We're on turn number 11, so we're doing great as far as keeping it under 25 turns. We have Stellar Burst, and this time we are in Sword Wielding Savior state. So let's get rid of that Chaos Zone. Hornet Hail is going to activate Crystal Zone in Stellar Burst. Sword and Heart, Hornet Hail, and we'll go ahead and Kaleidoscope.
Irregular performance increase detected.
It should have done Awakened Crystal Zone. Oh well. So we used up Sword Wielding Savior state, but since we did it in a burst, let's get Moke, Rampage, switch back to Tetra, and now we can Sword and Heart again. So we will do that. We will Glint Gale, we will Hakum Chets, and we will Refraction Bullet. So, no one was knocked out. We finished in, what, 12 or 13 turns? Even messed up once with the Sword-Wielding Savior state mode. Was still able to recover. And check, check, check. We would have Power of Offense Shade. Over 900 million damage in one hit. That was any of the Sword in Hearts, so we would have gotten that. Clear all other missions. Power of Offense Crystal. Check. That is Stage 5, Trial of Those Embracing Emptiness Extreme, done in about half the time that was required. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You just saw Thillelillie ES go from soloing very, very old manifests with minimal gear and Grasta to wiping out some of the hardest challenges and making it look easy to boot. Her stellar skill, Sword in Heart, is tremendous. It's barrier piercing, and if you can use it in a burst, do so, because then you can use it immediately again if you need to through Moke. Otherwise, she is just a very, very powerful character. Her Photon Messiah inflicts pain, and it's guaranteed. So you don't have to worry about having a separate person as the pain setter. She is her own pain setter. And then other buffs are all designed to improve, particularly for shadow allies. So toss her with some shadow allies, particularly Alma AS is a tremendous partner for her. But otherwise, she can do a lot of damage in a short amount of time. So I hope this video helps you in case you get Thillelillie, and you can now see what she is capable of doing. So there you go. Casual Crono signing out.